Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us to the 42nd IEEE Symposium on Security and Privacy. As Welcome to our second virtual Auckland. As you might remember, we were the first conference to go virtual, the first security conference to go virtual last year, and we learned many lessons. So hopefully this time the virtual experience is going to be even better than before our first time. So we'll be using Hopin as our main platform, as you can see, and paper authors and session chairs will be using this main stage. Just a little bit of information. Please use the Q&A under the stage, as identified here at the bottom of the screen, to ask your Q&A questions for the authors. So we have a very exciting set of events. Some old and some new. So we have the opening remarks, which is happening right now, when we will have paper awards, test of time awards, and also an IEEE Innovation Award. We also have a speed mentoring. So hopefully all of you received an email this morning about the speed mentoring opportunities. So I hope to see you. Hopefully a lot of mentors are there as well. Last count, I saw a little bit more mentees than mentors. So hopefully more people are motivated to join us there. We will have also 3 poster sessions at the end of the day on Monday, before the end of the program on Tuesday, and at the end of the day on Wednesday. So, and to accommodate different time zones. We'll have 2 short talk sessions, again at the end of the day on Tuesday, and before the program on Wednesday. And these are live, so to change a little bit the format of the conference. We will have an ethics in security research panel on Tuesday from 8 to 8:45 a.m. And we have a very exciting set of panelists, so I'm very excited about it. We'll have virtual socials, and that is new, something new, and I'll talk a little bit more about it later in slide. We also have an Intel Security Award later today from 2:30 to 3. We'll have the closing of the conference on Wednesday, 1:15 to 2:45, where we'll have basically a closing message from me, and some new, the TC business meeting, and some informal video awards. And then we will have the workshops on Thursday. So I wanted to highlight the poster session. So the poster session will happen on gather.town, and it's the last bottom in the screen. And we have 19 papers from the symposium authors that will be presenting their their posters. So if you want to, if there was a couple of papers that you really liked and you want to go discuss with the author a little bit more, this is the perfect place to do it. And then we have 47 posters in total. We also have something new this year, and this is virtual socials. So the virtual social is, the goal is to facilitate community creation, and we have an open call still. So if everything goes well and you want to host another virtual social, please let us know. So the virtual socials will happen tentatively on Tuesday night or evening. So we will have, so for example, I think the first one might change here, the virtual social formally verified foosball might change timing, but the rest should be there in the correct timing, and they will happen in sessions. And this will be basically like an informal Zoom meeting where you can introduce yourselves and build a community. So we have things like women in security, or Black in security, or formally verified foosball drinks. So if you're interested in any of these topics, feel free to join the socials and introduce yourself. And this is the time where you can go on camera and meet other people. We also have a fun award at the end of the conference, the Trojan Video Awards. So we've been receiving very high quality previews of videos for now 4 years in the symposium, and we decided it's probably time to start giving some recognition to all the effort authors are making to informing not only us, but the broader audience on security research. So we'll have some of that. We'll have these new awards at the end of the conference with the help of our video chair. And now the workshops will go on Thursday. We have an exciting set of workshops, and most of them will be in Hopin. I think Langsec will be the only one in Zoom, but we'll provide the link to that. So we have the 6th International Workshop on Traffic Measurements for Cybersecurity. We have the workshop on Technology and Consumer Protection, Deep Learning and Security Workshop, language theoretic security applications, a workshop on the Internet of Safe Things, systematic approaches to digital forensic engineering, and workshop on offensive technologies. And now, thank you everyone for attending. So at last count, we had over 1,120 symposium attendees. So that's still fairly high. We had a drop of 42% compared to 2020, where we had our record-breaking 1,935 registrants. And I think it was because, again, we were the first one who went online, the first conference, security conference to go online. And I think everyone was interested to see, well, what would an online conference look like? But we're still very far above the last recorded physical event, which was in 2019. We had 644 registrants to that conference. And yeah, our top countries for registrations are in the US with 660, and we have Germany, Switzerland, South Korea, United Kingdom. So thanks for registering, and I hope you enjoy the event. Thank you also to donors. Donations are very important to keep our registration prices low and to be able to afford, and so that we can afford as well professional help for managing the conference, as well as having all these platforms like Hopin and Gather.town for posters. So we had a decrease in donations compared to 2020, and that one was in turn a decrease from 2019. And I guess it makes sense because donors the main goal is to recruit students and meet people in person, and in a virtual event, it is hard. But we're still thankful for all the donors who allowed us to improve the symposium this year. And so please, if you're an attendee, make sure to stop by the donor booths. They're eager to talk to you, and if you're looking for a job, that's the perfect place to look for. So again, thank you to our platinum donors, NSF and Intel, our gold donor, IBM, our silver donors, Apple, ByteDance, Facebook, the Software Engineering Institute at CMU, Google, Microsoft, NortonLifeLock, Palo Alto Networks, and VMware. And our bronze donors, the Lincoln Labs at MIT, Qualcomm, and the Technology Innovation Institute. And yeah, this conference wouldn't have been able by volunteers, and it's amazing all the hard work. I didn't realize how much effort goes into organizing one of these conferences and how much each individual person contributes to this until I was the general chair, obviously. But this wouldn't be possible with all the help by the amazing program committee. So thank you, the program chairs, Alina and Thorsten, for a successful arrangement of the program in a difficult year. Thank you also Rakesh Baba, who was our vice chair and registration chair, Daniel Takabi, our treasurer, Rui Zhang, our video chair. And yeah, I think being a virtual conference has put extra responsibilities on the video chair, and Rui has been great in helping us collect all the videos, present all the videos, and even helping us with the video award at the end of the conference. Thank you so much also to Brilliant to keep our in contact with our donors and getting our donations in place. Thomas Moyer as publications chair, Regan Robertson, Kate, Todd, Brittany, and Gigi, the team at Executive Events who are producing the event. Scott, Ruth, thank you for the publicity of the event. Yao Liu, who was the Student Travel Committee. Alisa Frick for workshops chair. So thank you again. Natalie Baracaldo was the poster chair, or is the poster chair. Arkady Yerukhimovich, the short talks chair. Tegan Brennan, who you will see right now today, thank you for being awards chair. The student PC chairs, Reza Shokri, Yuan Tian. The web chair, Luis Salazar, thank you so much for updating the website promptly. And we have a new chair this year. We have a diversity, equity, and inclusion chair, Morley Mao from the University of Michigan. So we're excited to expand the diversity and equity efforts of our conference. And hopefully this is the start of a new chapter also in our event. And thank you so much to Gabriela Chocarlie, who was our General Chair Emeritus this year, and who was the first one who under extreme time pressure, converted our previous physical event to a virtual event. So I think she's the only chair who prepared everything for a physical event, and at the last minute had to do everything for a virtual event. And working with her last year to make this virtual event happening was was a great experience. And thank you so much for your words of wisdom as I was preparing this event. And yeah, thank you, the Technical Committee on Security and Privacy. So our outgoing chair, Ulfar Erlingsson, our current chair, Brian Parno, our treasurer, Yong Wang, and the TC Awards chair, Tegan Brennan. And now I'll introduce the program chairs, so Alina, Preya, and Thorsten. So whenever you're ready, please take it away. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Alvaro, for the introduction. On behalf of my co-chair, Thorsten Holtz, and the entire program committee, it is my greatest pleasure to welcome you to this 42nd edition of the IEEE Symposium on Security and Privacy. So Oakland is the flagship security conference, and it has a long tradition of publishing top quality papers covering a wide range of cybersecurity topics. While traditionally located in California, this year marks the second virtual edition of our symposium. So we have 4 exciting days of online talks, discussion, and virtual interaction in front of us. The first 3 days are dedicated to the main conference, and Thursday is reserved for the workshops. Let me talk to you about the reviewing process for this year and how we selected the program we will present in the next 3 days. So this year, we have changed the submission model to quarterly deadlines instead of monthly submissions we had in the last 2 years, in 2019 and 2020. So this change happened gradually after discussion initiated 2 years ago at the 2019 conference in San Francisco. Then this was followed by community feedback online, and also we coordinated with other security conferences. And after all of this discussion, we decided to switch to a quarterly submission deadline. We had 4 deadlines: in March for the spring cycle, in June for the summer cycle, and then in September for the fall, and the last one in December for the winter cycle. In every cycle, we had 2 rounds of reviews. So at the end of the first round, we decided to early reject a subset of the papers, and then we sent reject notification after about 1.5 months from the submission time. Then for all the papers advancing to the second round, we assigned 4 reviewers, and we sent notifications to authors within about 2.5 months from the submission time. As in previous years, we had 3 types of decisions. So a paper could be accepted directly or with shepherding, and then we had, of course, a paper could be rejected and then not appear in the program, or it could be given the option to revise and then resubmit to one of the next 2 cycles. So for revised papers, we give them a specific set of requirements, and we try to ensure that they get assigned the same set of PC members to review the resubmission, so that there is continuity in the process. So we are very grateful to have had the opportunity to work with an amazing program committee of 127 members, which has representation from academia, industry, and the government, as well as wide geographical distribution and broad expertise in many security topics of interest. To ensure consistency, everyone participated in all the reviewing cycles throughout the years, and everybody put up a lot of work to assemble the program for this year. On average, every PC member reviewed 22 papers. It's a lot of work, and it's constant throughout the year, with about between 4 and 8 papers per cycle. We had extensive online discussions striving for, positive and constructive tone to provide feedback to the authors. And we also selected a small set of papers for discussion at the quarterly PC meeting, which was organized on Zoom every quarter. So at a glance, here are some overall statistics for this year's conference. You can see in this chart the total number of submissions in blue, as well as the number of accepted papers in red and the number of revised papers in green per quarter. And the total number of submissions in all the 4 cycles was 952 papers, with the largest number of papers, 329, received in the last winter cycle. So let's see how this compares to the previous 2 conferences in 2019 and 2020. So both of these conferences had monthly submission deadlines, but here we have aggregated the submissions per quarter for comparison with this year's conference. So here in this graph, we show the total number of submissions per quarter in the last 3 years. And what we can see here is the consistent growth of the conference year to year, as well as the trend of receiving more submissions in the last 2 quarters, the fall and the winter cycle, as we get closer to the final deadline for the year. So historically, these are the trends. In this chart, I'm showing the number of submissions, the total number of submissions in blue. This is on a yearly basis, and the number of accepted papers in red. And as we can see, the conference is growing at a fast rate, especially in the last 4 to 5 years. Compared to last year, we received about 13% more submissions. Last year, we had 841. This year, we have 952 submissions. At the same time, what we plot the red solid line here is the acceptance rate, and you can see that it remains remarkably steady and consistent over time. So in the last 12 years, the acceptance rate remains close to 12%. Now I will discuss the process we followed to create the program for this year, and I showed a similar chart last year at the opening remarks. So we received a total of 952 submissions. Out of these, 59 papers were directly accepted into the program for this year. A set of 77 papers were given a revised decision. And from this, about half of them resubmitted and got accepted, and they will also appear in the program for this year. A set of 35 papers are still being considered for next year's conference. They were given the revised decision, but they did not resubmit the revision yet, and 6 revised papers were rejected. So this brings the revision acceptance rate to more than 85%, which is an increase from last year. We also had a set of 816 papers that were rejected, and they will not appear at the conference. We inherited a set of 20 papers from last year, from 2020. These were papers that were revised in 2020. Then they were resubmitted and evaluated by the 2020 program committee, but they will be presented in this year's program. And so in total, we accepted and we will present in the conference this year 115 papers, which represents an acceptance rate, as I said, of about 12.08%. So our program committee worked very hard. As I mentioned, more than 2,800 reviews were submitted in the entire year. And here it's a graph showing the distribution of word counts, review word counts, having a median of 600 words. And we also see some reviews that have more than 2,000 words, highlighting how detailed most of the reviews are. So Oakland really strives to enforce high quality in the review process, and the length of the review is just one of the metrics we can use as a proxy of quality. Now I'm showing the distribution of the merit scores for all the papers. This is aggregated for all the 4 submission cycles. The scores are spread out between 1 and 6. 6 is our maximum. The median is at 2, which is quite low. And the 12th percentile of the score distribution is exactly a score of 3. Now, in more details, the scores of accepted papers and rejected papers are presented in these two graphs. As expected, accepted papers tend to have higher scores than rejected ones. We would like to highlight a single paper that received a score of 6 and a small set of papers, 19 papers that got a score of 5, while the rest of the papers have scores between 1 and 4. Now, Auckland introduced several years ago the Systematization of Knowledge, or SOK, category of papers, which other conferences adopted as well. And we performed some analysis looking here at the scores of the SOK papers on the left compared to the scores of regular papers on the right. And interestingly, we found out that the scores of SOK papers are generally lower than those of regular papers. And this difference is statistically significant. So we ran several statistical tests, including the t-test and the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, to confirm this. And I think it would be very interesting for future Auckland conferences to understand why there is a difference between the regular papers and the SOK papers. In this year's program, we have 7 SOK papers, which is a small number relative to the total number of 115 papers. Now, the spread of topics covered by our symposium is really remarkable. I would say that every area of computer security is well represented in our program. In this chart, we are showing the distribution of paper topics for all the submitted papers. So compared to last year, we have seen some topics increasing in popularity. For example, ML and AI security now is the second most popular topic, almost equally popular to the generic attack and defense category. Also, the applied cryptography and the blockchain and distributed ledger security have increased in popularity. I'm very happy to see this year that we have a broad geographical representation in the list of authors. I'm also hoping in the attendees list as well. In this chart, we show the countries of the authors of accepted papers, papers that will be presented at the conference. So we have authors from more than 20 countries and 5 continents. And the top countries represented in the program are US, China, and then Germany, France, and Austria, which is in line with what we had last year. Now, I wanted to share with you today a few statistics about the conference, some historical trends, and to discuss the reviewing process, to give you some background about how we ran the program committee and the reviewing process this year. And Thorsten and I are preparing a detailed report with our analysis of the conference that will include what I showed you today, our findings. And we are planning to publish this report later in the week. Thank you very much. I will turn it over to my co-chair now, Thorsten, to discuss about the changes for the next year's conference and also present the exciting paper awards.
Thank you, Alina, for this introduction, and I'm now taking over with some additional remarks about the reviewing process, the general conference, and then, as Alina said, also the awards. So first of all, I want to talk about the Hippocrate commits paper that you probably heard about. This was a paper submitted to this conference. It was accepted and later withdrawn by the authors. It generated quite a lot of discussions. So in the reviewing systems, we had more than 180 comments related to this paper, given that we did not have a physical PC meeting. All the discussions happened online, and many PC members were involved in this discussion. This paper deals with a complex subject, and therefore we as the program committee also decided to write a PC statement that covers, on the one hand, the technical aspects of the paper, and on the other hand, also the ethical aspects. And you can find the PC statement on the IEEE 21 website. It's about 3 pages long and discusses this, this paper in greater detail. Given that this paper created such a long discussion, we also decided to establish a panel this year. So we organized a panel that is supposed to happen tomorrow morning between 8 and 8:35. It covers ethics and security and privacy research, and we have 4 panelists with whom we want to discuss ethical aspects of academic research. So if you're interested in this topic, please join tomorrow morning. We will have the opportunity to also ask questions from the audience, and we are really looking forward to this panel. We also decided to change the operational procedure for the next year's conference. And the most important aspect is that we will introduce an ethics review board. So the basic idea is that the program committee will have a checkbox where each paper is also assessed in ethical terms. And we have a task force, so this ethical review board that that reviews each of the paper regarding potential ethical concerns. And then it can also recommend to reject a paper based on ethical grounds. We are still in the process of establishing this board, and we will also update the call for papers to better reflect the expectations regarding ethical considerations and human subjects research. So please expect that there will be an update shortly, and we are still in the process of establishing all these standards. Another change for this year is that we changed the submission deadlines a bit. As Alina said earlier, in 2021, we had 4 deadlines, one in March, one in June, one in September, and one in December. And based on the experience collected in this year, we decided to reduce the number of submission deadlines down to 3, with a deadline in April, in August, and in December. This change helps us to have more time between the individual reviewing cycles, such that also the PC members can have a break in between the cycles. So we expect that the quality of the reviews will increase, given that we have a better time management with these 3 deadlines. Another major change that we implemented is that we introduce a rebuttal phase. Similar to other conferences, the authors have the opportunity to comment on the reviews. So we plan to make the reviews available after the second review round. And we also want to experiment with some kind of exchange between messages with the reviewers. So we will use the anonymous communication feature of HotCrab for 5 days, such that you as an author can receive the reviews. You can exchange messages with the reviewers, you can answer their questions, you can clarify certain aspects that were not well understood by the authors, by the reviewers. And we hope that this rebuttal phase will also improve the reviewing quality. And I'm very happy that next year's PC chair, Tom Ristenpart, is with me. So we are really looking forward to next year's conference. We would like to thank quite a few people. So without the authors and the speakers, this conference would not have been possible. As Alina said, we received a record number of submissions. So we are very happy that Oakland continues to receive many high quality submissions. And without your work, all of this would not have been possible. We have hundreds of people attending the conference, and we hope that you enjoy this virtual conference. So thanks a lot for being here. And then there are many people without whom this conference would not have been possible. First, there are the general chairs, Alvaro and Rakesh, who organized everything. So without their tremendous support, all of this would not have been possible. Then there is this technical committee on security and privacy with Ulfa, Brian, and Sean, who helped to organize everything. And without their guidance and feedback, the conference would also not have been possible. For the first year, IEEE Security and Privacy also has a steering committee. You can find their names on the website. And I'm very happy that S&P finally also has a steering committee that provides feedback. We had more than 100 people on the program committee and very many external reviewers who also helped with their expertise to review the paper. So thanks a lot to all of them for providing all their time and all the feedback in reviewing the papers. And there are many other people who helped to run the conference smoothly. So thanks a lot, everyone, and enjoy this virtual conference. And now we are starting with the awards. So we have, similar to the last year's, an award selection process. And it would be great if I could see the slides again. No, not the time of test awards, but these, thank you. So the award selection process, we established a committee that consists of the 2 PC chairs, so Alina and me, and we selected a few PC members to represent different topic areas. So Camila Troncoso, David Kohlbrenner, Nicholas Christine, Sergeant Kapkun, and Yongdae Kim helped with the selection process. In the first step, we had a discussion about papers that should be shortlisted, and after a first round of voting, we came up with a shortlist of 10 papers that were considered for the awards. Then we had another voting procedure among the 7 committee members, and we came up with 2 Best Paper Awards, 2 Best Student Paper Awards, and 1 Best Practical Paper Award that we want to present in the following. And these awards are sponsored by Intel and by IBM, so we are thankful for these 2 companies for providing support for this award selection process. Next slide, please. So, as I said earlier, we decided on 2 Best Paper Awards. So these were 2 papers that were in the voting process clearly the winners. So I'm very happy to announce that we have 2 Best Paper Awards. The first one is Compositional Security for Re-entrant Applications by 3 authors from Cornell University: Ethan Gichetti, Sikyu Yao, Hao Bini, and Andrew Myers. So congratulations for this paper. And then the second Best Paper Award goes to Hardware-Software Contracts for Secure Speculation from a team from IMDEA, Microsoft Research, and Saarland University. So it's Marco Guarnieri, Boris Köpf, Jan Reinke, and Pepe Vila. Congratulations to these authors, and these 2 papers represent the Best Paper Awards. Then we also discussed Best Student Paper Awards, and we opted to also give out 2 awards. They are now split across 2 slides because both of them have a very long list of authors. The first one is Crawlfish, Large-Scale Analysis of Client-Side Cloaking Techniques in Phishing, from a team from Arizona State University, PayPal, NCSU, and also Samsung Research. I think it doesn't make sense to read out all the names, so there's a lot of teamwork behind this paper. The second paper is They Would Do Better If They Work Together, the case of interaction problems between password managers and websites. This is a collaboration between researchers from Leibniz University Hannover, CISPA Helmholtz Center for Information Security, and MPI-SP. So Nicolas Huermann, Sabrina Amft, Martin Oltrogge, Jasmin Akar, and Sascha Fahl. Congratulations also to these authors for the Best Student Paper Award. And then, last but not least, the Best Practical Paper Award. And there was also a very clear winner for this award, especially given the huge practical impact this paper had. And this award goes to the paper, The EMV Standard, Break, Fix, Verify, from David Bazin, Ralf Sasse, and George Toro-Pozzo from ETH Zurich. Congratulations to all of these authors, and we will send out plaques soon. So happy to have such great papers being presented here at the conference. And now I'm handing over to Somesh. He will present the Test of Time awards.
Okay, so I was the chair for the Test of Time Awards this cycle, which covers 2009 to 2011. I had an amazing committee, Laurie Craner, Patrick McDaniel, and Andrew Myers. Next slide. I wanted to kind of dive a little bit deep into some nostalgia. If you remember 2009 to 2011, it used to be in this beautiful place called the Claremont Resort. And as an old timer, I just wanted to say that I really miss it, basically. Okay, next slide, please. So our process roughly was, I really wanted a very diverse committee, diverse more on the area, right? So we had a very diverse committee, sort of the areas we span, and I wanted the committee to kind of reflect that. So as you can see from our committee, we kind of, span the entire gamut of areas we have. Then we kind of created a short list of papers, which was around 20 in our case, by looking at various things. Then lots of emails, offline discussion. And then we had to schedule a long meeting, which was kind of the toughest part. And then we make the final selection. And I can tell you that the hardest part, is actually once we selected, was to actually contact the authors because there's so much movement, people moving around. So that is generally in the sort of the process. And we selected 3 papers, and Tegan is going to announce them. So Tegan, you go next.
Hi there. I'm happy to congratulate and announce our first recipients of the Test of Time Award, Matt, Sudhir, Breno, and Bill, for their paper, Password Cracking Using Probabilistic Context-Free Grammars from 2009.
Hi, I'm Matt Weir, and I was the lead author of the paper. I'd like to start off by thanking the IEEE staff and reviewers, both for accepting our original paper and also in honoring us with this award. Now I'm going to hand this off to Dr. Agrawal to talk about our research.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sudhir. When reminiscing about the work that we did, I think one of the things that came to my mind was that it was a very nice working environment that we had. We had our own conference room. We had a lot of space to work in. That was very important for us to put together this paper. Also, we had a very flexible grant, and the grant allowed us to do work without worrying too much about exactly what we're doing, and we could follow all our leads that we wanted to. So that was very important too. With respect to the longevity of our paper, which I think there are several reasons for it, and I just briefly mentioned them. One is that the paper had a very simple model, a very simple construction of how passwords can be represented. The second was that we were able to find a way to include probability into the model. Third is we figured out how to do highest probability order first in order to generating probabilities in that order. And fourth is that a lot of data became available, revealed data set that we could use for testing. I'll turn it over to Billy to talk a little bit more about some of these things.
Hi, I'm Billy Glodek, and thank you again for the notable distinction. As a graduate student at the time, the subject matter was very interesting, and I was very fortunate to have worked with talented individuals like Matt, Sudhir, and Breno. The lessons I learned from the research have stayed with me for the past 10 years and have laid the foundation for meaningful, measurable, and repeatable cybersecurity. So thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Breno.
Oh, hi. So when I joined the group, I was familiar with the work on Markov model string for password structure, but our problem was different. We wanted to find out how to most efficiently generate password guesses. I believe that introducing probabilistic context-free grammars would allow us to leverage the natural hierarchical structure that we had inferred through password grammars. So it turned out well. Matt, back to you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of the impact that this work has had in shaping password security policies. NIST incorporated the findings based upon this paper into their SP 1863 digital identity guidance, and follow-up research to this paper has been used to argue against password expiration policies, showing that forcing users to regularly change their passwords makes them less secure. Everyone hates passwords, and anything we can do to make passwords more secure and easier to use makes the world a better place. So thank you once again to the IEEE for presenting us this award, and for everyone who's helped make this research possible.
Congratulations again to all the authors. I'd now like to announce our second set of recipients for the Test of Time Awards: Bennett, David, Gregory, Jay Bradley, Robert, Tavis, Shiki, Neha, and Nicholas, for their paper, Native Client, a sandbox for portable, untrusted x86 native code from 2009.
It's a great honor to be recognized by the Test of Time Award. We're truly honored and humbled by this recognition.
It was great fun. It made me finally learn the Windows kernel interface.
I remember working through validator bugs with Tavis or Mandy. He found quite a few bugs in the first x86 validator, but what he and I soon noticed is that I could fix the bugs as quickly as he could find them, and that seemed like a good sign. The Native Client Security Contest was another inspiring moment. For fun, we offered cash prizes that were powers of 2, up to $8,192. It was an early demonstration of how effective a bounty program can be.
When I started, I was mostly worried about things like weakest preconditions or loop invariants. Instead, I found that being methodical is just as critical. During the first security audit, it was verified that we had anticipated the somewhat complicated sandbox escape route of allowing mmap's atomic page table update to tear down page mappings of SFI-validated code pages and replace them with unvalidated contents of a file. Unfortunately, we had forgotten to disallow using munmap to create a hole in the text region to be filled later. If we had made a list of things to check for, or added to-do comments in the code, this oversight would probably not have occurred.
We also demonstrated that Native Client could run real production applications. Over time, we ported the Unity 3D game engine together with game physics, 3D graphics, C#, and the C# runtime. For the Android runtime for Chrome, we ported the full Android application environment, including the Java VM and a JIT.
Most of our publications touted the security and performance of Native Client. But as part of the Chrome team, we didn't want to bake x86 or ARM into the web. So we built portable Native Client in Chrome, which used LLVM bitcode and a compiler secured, of course, by NACL. Sadly, bitcode's lack of a formal specification proved a problem. And Pepper, Chrome's plugin API, was very unpopular with other browsers. From the time I wrote the first NACL browser plugin for Firefox, my goal was to be portable across browsers. So we began working with other browsers to develop WebAssembly. I am proud of the influence NACL had on WASM's design and implementation.
I think the video ended in the.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might want to go to the next. I think the video. Go ahead, Tegan.
And now I'll announce our final set of recipients of the Test of Time Award: Reza, George, Jean-Yves, and Jean-Pierre, for their paper Quantifying Location Privacy from 2011.
As George, Jean-Yves, and Jean-Pierre, I would like to thank the committee and the Oakland community for this award. It's a great honor to receive the Test of Time Award for our work on quantifying location privacy. This is personally very valuable to me as well, as this was my very first paper at Oakland, which I worked on during my PhD at EPFL. To give a little bit of context about this work, I would like to highlight that one of the major problems in data privacy is the quantification of privacy risk. Having a measure that allows you to assess the information leakage of a system and a privacy test algorithm that can perform this measurement in a consistent way across a wide range of systems so that they can be compared with each other. There are many different ways in which data could be shared or exposed, and many different ways in which data could be protected and obfuscated. So having a unified way to quantify privacy risk and a metric that can correctly reflect this risk is undeniably very important in this domain. This is exactly what motivated our work, and this is the problem that this paper tries to solve for location data. which is a very sensitive personal data with very rich contextual information.
When we started working on this problem, there were a few proof of concept attacks showing location privacy vulnerabilities in wireless networks and in some location-based services. And there were so many different approaches to protecting location privacy, each one evaluated with a different metric. So a major motivation for this paper was to compare all these privacy mechanisms that had been proposed. The paper presents an adversarial approach to this problem. By looking at disparate attacker objectives via a single lens, that of Bayesian inference, we were able to place them in context and notice deficiencies that some of them had. More importantly, we were able to construct a framework that can be used for the design and evaluation of new mechanisms.
Statistical inference and advanced machine learning algorithms can provide solid formal frameworks and very strong tools to apply to different settings and threat models, ranging from a distributed network to centralized architectures, in order to measure the risks of identification, reconstruction, attribute inference, correlation, and, more interestingly, the combination of such attacks.
The impact of this work goes actually beyond location. After this paper was published, we have witnessed a number of papers appearing, notably on genomic privacy and more generally health data protection. And then another thing is that the legislation has evolved since then. And for example, GDPR mandates that data protection impact assessments are performed in a number of settings. And we hope that our work and the subsequent work will help making them in a very systematic way.
So I just wanted to say that this was an extremely hard decision. As you know, there were a lot of papers probably worthy. And so I'm just going to take 1 minute on my soapbox here. I just think that one thing that we need to be very careful as a community, we have, since I have been attending this conference for maybe 24, 25 years, we have grown a lot as a community. And I think what we need to be doing is growing other things as well, like number of awards, maybe the acceptance rate. Everything needs to scale up with the community. And that's the end of my soapbox, and congrats to all the recipients.
Okay, thank you. So I am here to announce our final award. So we are very happy that, we're very happy that Elisa Bertino selected us to host the 2021 IEEE Innovation in Societal Infrastructure Award. So Elisa could have selected any IEEE event for this celebration, and she chose our conference for this. So we're very excited to host you, and congratulations, Elisa. Please, Kate, put the video.
I'm President and CEO Kathy Land, and it's my honor to be able to participate in this celebration today and to represent the IEEE Board of Directors to present the IEEE Innovation in Societal Infrastructure Award, one of IEEE's most prestigious technical field awards. I want to thank the organizers and other participants for their creativity and flexibility in successfully addressing the challenges of coordinating this virtual ceremony. It is more important than ever that we take opportunities to come together, albeit virtually, to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of our colleagues. Sponsored by Hitachi Limited and the IEEE Computer Society, this award recognizes significant technological achievements and contributions to the establishment, development, and proliferation of innovative societal infrastructure systems through the application of information technology with an emphasis on distributed computing systems. This year, we are honoring IEEE Fellow Elisa Bertino for advancing the security and privacy of new generation cellular networks. Dr. Bertino is the Samuel D. Conti Professor of Computer Science at Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. Her groundbreaking work in improving the security of 4G and 5G cellular networks has provided tools that help identify vulnerabilities to protect these critical infrastructures. To overcome the daunting challenges of securing cellular networks, Dr. Bertino developed comprehensive methodologies to systematically analyze their many protocols. Her contributions are critical to defending against attacks that could impair everything from mobile phones to many other advanced applications that rely on cellular networks for communicating. On behalf of the IEEE Board of Directors, it is my honor to recognize IEEE Fellow Elisa Bertino as the recipient of the 2021 IEEE Innovation in Societal Infrastructure Award.
It is a great honor to receive the 2021st IEEE Innovation in Societal Infrastructure Award. This award is sponsored by Hitachi and the IEEE Computer Society and recognizes significant achievement and contribution to societal infrastructure systems through the application of information technology. I'm very proud to receive this award for research on security and privacy of cellular networks. It is a recognition of the relevance of cellular network infrastructures for our societies and how critical their security and privacy are. Securing cellular networks is a challenging task. Those networks consist of multiple layers, including physical layer, radio resource control layer, non-access stratum layers, and so forth. Each layer, in turn, has its own protocols to implement its procedures, such as the protocols for attaching, detaching devices to and from the networks, and protocols for paging devices for notification of incoming calls and SMS. This makes these protocols very complicated, and additional vulnerabilities are also introduced in the implementation of those protocols, as the protocols are complex and the standards usually include many different options. Additional requirements such as backward compatibility add to this complexity. Of course, the research that the IM team have carried out represents an important starting point, but there is much more research that needs to be done. And I hope to see many more people from the cybersecurity community involved in addressing critical requirements for the security and privacy of cellular networks. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the contributions done in this area by my collaborators and students. Their work has been really important to help us coming up with the initial approaches to address this important problem of security and privacy of cellular networks. Finally, I would like to thank the organizer of this year IEEE Security and Privacy Symposium for hosting the ceremony for this award. Thanks.
Great. Can you share my slides, Kate? Okay, thank you. So, so can you see my slides or? Sorry, let me try once again. Okay, well, at this point, I would like to thank everyone again for joining us to this for the opening remarks and enjoy the symposium. I also saw that you didn't see some of my initial slides, so we're only 5 minutes away and we made it on time. So I wanted to briefly just maybe go quickly through some of the slides we missed at the beginning and just finalize the event with some of the key things I wanted to mention. So yeah, so I wanted to highlight again the posters. So we have 19 papers from the symposium at the poster session and 47 posters in total in 3 different sessions. So please join us for the poster sessions today evening, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday afternoon. The other thing I wanted to highlight again are the virtual socials. So we're trying to create communities around interests, various interests. So we are hosting this on Tuesday afternoon, and they will happen in the session tab. And again, this is a time for you to be on screen and meet with other participants. Yeah, I also wanted to highlight, this is the slide of the Trojan Video Awards that Rui put together. You'll learn more at the end of the event. And yeah, I just wanted to show a couple of figures that we missed. So the symposium attendees, so we have over 1,120 symposium attendees. And most of them from the US, but we also have Germany, Switzerland, South Korea, and the UK represented. And our donors, yeah. So, I mean, I already mentioned this, but I just wanted to show quickly the slides. And yeah, so with that, I just wanted to make sure that some of the slides I prepared, you were able to see them. But with nothing else to say, so I would like to thank you once again for joining us for the opening ceremony. Thank you very much to all the program committee, the technical committee, the organizing committee for making this possible, and all of you for attending. So enjoy the conference. Thank you.